Power. A law that can be perceived as full-blown cowardly weakness. You are never supposed to cave and let your reputation take a hit. Right? Wrong. By using this law, which will be perfectly exemplified by a story arc in Game of Thrones,
I will not kneel before some barefooted common and beg his forgiveness.
Listen to what I'm telling you. Cersei understands the consequences of her absence, and she is absent anyway.
By using this law, your opponent is lulled into thinking that you are defeated by them. On the surface, this may look horrible and is certainly counterproductive to Law 5, which states, guard your reputation at all cost. However, by surrendering in certain moments where you are clearly weaker, you carve out space to rebuild your strength and to discover the weaknesses of your enemy or competitor. Once you have done that, you can plan revenge and restore your reputation by crushing them for once and for all. And that is what the quintessential purpose of this law is. Dark and sinister, right? As you know by now, I'd vouch 100 if not 1,000,000 times over for the ethical variant of this law. But, as said before, if you are working and living in a destabilized society and/or a hierarchy that is based upon power, you'd be a donkey to not see the utility of this law. That's why keeping your surroundings clean and placing yourself in a hierarchy of competence is critical for long-lasting fulfillment in your life. Hence why Aristotle said that living in a right state is a crucial necessity for reaching eudaimonia. That is a word, a philosophy, and a way of living that comes the closest to encapsulate my mode of being. Before you watch any of the Laws of Power video and feel inclined to using the dark side of the book, watch this power intro video to realize and understand why such dark and manipulative topics are discussed on a channel that is based on character and integrity. Friends, this is a powerful law, no denying that. This will be a very information dense and also the longest Laws of Power video thus far, but hey, I'm extremely stoked for this one. So what's actually in the video? First, we'll explore this law in Game of Thrones, and then it's time to go over the keys to power. Following that, there's a story of the book that shows how a king used this law to not only survive, but eventually crush his former stronger enemy and regain his power. I'll also provide 3 main advantages of this surrender tactic, and to finish it all off, we go over to the reversal of the law with a short bonus on something that I was recently told. Oh, if you're a Patreon member, you are in luck because the exclusive content on this video is the defiance of the law and a lot of clips of Game of Thrones. One more thing, guys, we should all be truly grateful to have access to read and explore the dark parts of the human psyche, of our own psyche with books like these. Remember, however, as alluring the dark world of power is, you don't want to keep playing games like these in your life, continuously living with a primitive, status-driven, fundamentally survival-oriented mindset and walking and filtering your surroundings through that lens. I want you to outgrow that and step into the space where you are able to help people, to advance humanity, to provide a helping hand to those in need, and to provide fertility and blessing to your environment. Live by that code. Live aligned with the overarching higher ideal and archetype of the honorable king and queen. Greatness, abundance, and true human power in its most positive force will then be yours. Laws of Power, Law 22. Use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. When you are weaker, never fight for honor's sake. Choose surrender instead. Surrender gives you time to recover, time to torment and irritate your conqueror, time to wait for his power to wane. Do not give him the satisfaction of fighting and defeating you. Surrender first. By turning the other cheek, you infuriate and unsettle him. Make surrender a tool of power. Before we jump in the observance of the highly requested show, Game of Thrones, remember this. People who make a show of their authority are easily deceived by the surrender tactic. I see this happening all over the place, at work, in interpersonal relationship between managers, and of course, in the plethora of media examples. I keep mentioning the obvious and classic example of Billy Kimber versus Tommy Shelby.
And I'm the fucking boss, okay?
Now, you might ask, why are those people who make a show of their authority easily deceived by the surrender tactic? The reason is obvious. See, your outward portrayal and sign of submission makes them feel important. It boosts their fragile ego. If their ego wasn't fragile, they wouldn't make a show of their authority in the first place. They have the need for control over people because they lack inner stability. When you surrender, they feel satisfied and you play into their beliefs that they conquered you, and therefore they force you to respect them. All of these emotional, problematic needs blind them to your real intention.
You're a white-collar genius.
Go on.
They become easier targets for a later counterattack. Friends, measuring your power over time is almost always the superior strategy, and I don't repeat this lightly. Long-term satisfaction beats short-term satisfaction. Surrendering and bowing down is a short-term tactic that opens up a gigantic storehouse of options to rise victorious in long-term strategy. Learn to properly distinguish between tactic and strategy, and your way of thinking enters a whole nother realm. So in short, as Robert Greene wonderfully put it, never sacrifice long-term maneuverability for the short-lived glories of martyrdom. The Tyrell family have helped the Lannister family to win a war they would have otherwise lost, so they are indebted and can ask for a favor.
Dolores Tyrell. Your house has come to our aid. The whole realm is in your debt, none more so than I.
I would ask you to find it in your heart to do us the great honor of joining our houses.
Is this what you want, Lady Marjorie?
I have come to love you from afar. Tales of your courage and wisdom have never been far from my ears. And those tales have taken root deep inside of me.
It would be an honor to return your love. You will be my queen. And I will love you from this day until my last day.
A lot of things happen between here and the actual marriage, which the Patreon member will get as exclusive content. What's important to know is that Marjorie is outplaying and out-strategizing Cersei at every step of the way.
Well, I'm sure she knows what she's doing.
I'm sure she does. The Tyrells are a problem. Marjorie has her claws in Joffrey. She knows how to manipulate him.
Good. I wish you knew how to manipulate him.
Joffrey will belong to Marjorie, the little doe-eyed whore.
When she gets to marry the new king, she is in control of the kingdom and wants to oust Cersei out.
Does your mother like it here?
I don't think so. She told me never to trust anyone in King's Landing.
I will include one little part which the Patreon members will see in its entirety.
We're going to be sisters soon. We should be friends.
House Rain was a powerful family, very wealthy, the second wealthiest in Westeros. Aren't the Tyrells the second wealthiest family in Westeros now? Of course, ambitious climbers don't want to stop on the second highest rung. If you ever call me sister again, I'll have you strangled in your sleep.
After the marriage, Marjorie is controlling the king and it's now time to oust Cersei out. So Cersei introduced a new power over which the kingdom has no control. The priest, also known as the High Sparrow.
How may I serve?
An army in service to the gods themselves. And to you, of course, as the chosen representative of the Seven.
What's important to know is that Marjorie's brother is gay, and that was a huge shame and sin back in the days. So Cersei provides this information to the priest.
The king himself cannot always punish those who deserve it most.
All sinners are equal before the gods.
What would you say if I told you of a great sinner in our very midst, shielded by gold and privilege?
May the Father judge him justly.
your hands off
Sir
me!
Loris of House Tyrell, you have broken the laws of gods and men.
Who do you think you are?
Justice.
And Marjorie's brother is taken into custody and for questioning. The war